Crypto Show, I'm Ryan Grace, and with me today, of course, the wizard is in the house. Katie McGarrigle, what's going on?
I'm good. I was just telling you off air how I am still recovering from my bachelorette party this weekend. I have some very, very good friends, but my body does not heal itself the way that it did in my 20s, to put it gently.
I can understand that. Did you have a good time? What'd you do?
Had a great time, yeah. We stayed in Chicago. We did this like really cool sneaker decorating class down in Pilsen at this woman's like shoe shop.
Okay.
So that was like really neat. And I'm like doing the artsy things like that. And then we did lunch somewhere, and then we kicked it for a little bit, and then we had like this mobile hibachi guy come, and like I was like playing with fire. It was kind of scary. Glad all my hair's still intact. And then we ended the night with dancing at one of Chicago's great dance bars. So yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
It was a great time. I just, again, like.
Very wholesome, Katie.
It was pretty wholesome, yeah. There was no...
Sneaker decorating. I like that. That's on the other end of the spectrum from, I think, your traditional, bachelor party for sure. Maybe bachelorette parties are a little bit different.
Yeah, there were no Thunder from Down Under, male reviews, or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Totally support it.
Own, yeah.
Yeah, we had a nice little fun girl time. But like I said...
How are you feeling today?
I'm better today than I was yesterday, but... For context, I had bone broth and crackers and like 5 French fries yesterday, and that was all I could consume.
Oh, you need like a double cheeseburger from McDonald's or something.
I couldn't even breathe without feeling nauseous yesterday. So I feel like a new person today. But yeah, I mean, how about you? What did you get into this weekend?
My wife's family was here for like the second or so week, so we hung out and hung out with some of her nieces.
Okay.
Guess kind of practice for my upcoming birth or
what's to come.
Child, I guess is probably the better term.
The little PETA.
Yeah, probably. You know, I can remember when I was a PETA, and that's a pain in the ass for anybody that's not familiar with it. When I was little, my dad, I think, cursed me. Right? He would say things like, "Don't say sorry. You'll never be sorry." And, I hope you have a son just like you.
Oh, my gosh.
And this is when I was probably 6, 7 years old. So I've probably been cursed. And, we'll see.
Well, yeah, time is coming real soon.
Yeah.
Dad Watch 2025.
That's right. One more month to go. But weekend was good. We had an opportunity to buy some crypto this weekend as well. Were you active in the market? I
was not active in the market. I was active in the streets.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, I mean, you do have the Tasty Trade app on your phone, Katie. I'm just saying.
I know. Well, what did I miss? Regale me.
Well, we had a bit of a dip post Friday. You got a fairly weak jobs report, revision of prior numbers as well that didn't look too good. You've got some risk off, tariff on headlines, and we took a dip down towards almost 112, I want to say. Bitcoin higher now, almost 116. I've got some slides from my friends on Options Trading Concepts Live. I do that show on Mondays. So we'll go through some of these signals. We can take a look at our watch list in the Tasty Trade platform as well. But yeah, had an opportunity to dip your toe into the water in ETH, came down to almost 33 and change. Bitcoin, like I said, 113. Solana, I think, well under 160. So a nice bounce here today. And you're seeing the same thing across the market when we look at equities as well. We've got the S&P 500 up over 100 points, which gets you almost 2% to the upside. So the world was ending on Friday, and maybe today it isn't. Volatility coming back in after popping, when we look at the VIX, over 22. Mm-hmm. So you get a chance every now and then.
I must have missed it. Next time we've got to set up the weekend text thread so I don't miss it.
It's a good point.
But you're right. I do have both the Tasty Crypto app and the Tasty Trade app on my phone. So that's on me. But
Next time.
I am still optimistic. Maybe we can place a few trades, today, or talk about what we can do maybe in a crypto ETF as the market reopens tomorrow, and then maybe do something with just like one of the outrights in the next 21 minutes or so.
Yeah, let's do that. But before we do, we got to shout out the chat popping off. Emmett up in here. Katie forgot to cast her Impervious Charm.
Sure did.
Is that actually the name of a spell? I'm not really in the know. Believe it or not, when it comes to wizardry, and I don't know if I'd go so far as to say the occult, but the magic side of this spectrum, I'm not up to speed. What's the Impervious Charm?
It could be. I'm not. Also, I have not played Hogwarts Legacy in over a year or two now, so I'm a little bit slow to the specific spells. I do know that Aguamenti is a spell which would have come in real handy when I needed more hydration when I was
The hell is that?
It fills up your cup with water.
Oh.
Aguamenti. Yeah.
Wow, there's a spell for everything.
So I could have used that. I really could have used like Gatorade Menti. You know what I'm saying?
Something like that.
Or just some type of thing that would remove the, skull splitting headache that I had. But Here we are. We are back. But yeah, I did forget to cast that spell. I did make a wish to not wake up the way I did, and that didn't work, obviously.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
But it's okay. We're here. I learned from it. I had fun. What do you say? You're like borrowing happiness from tomorrow to have fun tonight. Something like that.
Yeah. I guess you have to pay the price.
Yeah, the
at
party
some
price.
point. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I digress. Get your ass in the chat if you're not in there and you're not streaming this on Tasty Live's YouTube channel. What are you doing? Well, maybe you're streaming it on Tasty Live, which is a great thing as well. But if you want to join us in the chat, if you have a question for us on the show, you want to say what's up to Katie as well, get over to YouTube. We're streaming live. Pop out the chat, hit the like button, subscribe, do all that shit. I guess that's what you're supposed to say, right?
Yeah, all that shit.
Yeah, there's like this guy on YouTube that I watch. He basically provides commentary over. Now I'm exposing myself. He provides commentary over like scary videos.
Oh, hell yeah.
Have you ever seen any of this stuff?
No, but he's like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen, like stuff like that.
It's there's a couple of these channels out there. One's called Nuke's Top 5.
Okay.
And so my wife and I watch this like while we're eating dinner. You know, it's like cell phone videos of people capturing ghosts in the woods.
Yeah.
It's great, by the way.
That sounds like such a Natalie thing, by the way. I'm so here for that.
Right, like we were kind of giving you shit about like the wizardry, and I'm over here like watching spooky videos, like that Sasquatch someone captured on camera, on their grainy cell phone camera. But this other guy is called Slapped Ham is the name of the channel, and where I'm going with all of this is instead of hit the like button, he says tickle the little bell. So get over to the Tasty Live YouTube channel, tickle the little bell, and subscribe if you're not already. But that said, Katie, let's pop back over to our crypto market update. Again, these numbers are coming from the show earlier today. Options Trading Concepts Live, an hour long. You can get the commentary and the questions from there.
Yeah.
But you can see across the board, consistent themes here week to week. We've got the pullback. There's not much that's up in the last week. Litecoin maybe up 2%. Everything has been down. I think it presents you an opportunity. Larger market cap tokens, things like Bitcoin and ETH, have been better places to maybe hide out versus some of the stuff that tends to be a bit more volatile. So if we jump over to smaller market cap tokens here, we got Cardano at the top. You can see double-digit losses weekly, and the same thing when we get into some of these smaller tokens. That said, that theme of Bitcoin relative outperformance remains, up 22% year to date. And then everything else against that here is in this column. So Bitcoin up 22% year to date, not against itself in that sense, just its performance. And then relative to that, ETH, it's still up, but down 15% versus Bitcoin. So up 7% year to date. Volatility is still relatively low. Price momentum remains bullish over weekly and monthly timeframes, but you have seen a bit of a pause here when we're looking at Bitcoin, ETH kind of holding in there for now, Solana a little bit worse off. Nothing that has me changing my mind, But we do want to keep an eye on whether this move evolves into something more on a weekly basis and, certainly monthly. By that time, I hope you're out, and we'll give everyone a heads up, at least as it relates to kind of what we're seeing or how I might trade it. But if I start to get a breakdown on the daily that then flows or spills over into the weekly, I'm not going to wait around for this to be down 30% on its way down to 50% if we see that show up in the monthly signals. But right now, I think, again, we were a bit overbought. We talked about that, 3,800, 3,900 ETH.
Yeah.
Looking for a pullback to 3,500. You got it. What are you going to do when you get it?
Yeah. Knowing that you've been in the game as long as you have now, are you ever fully
about to retire? Not because I won, just getting out of the game.
Give it up. Just throwing in the towel.
Right. Sometimes your knees just hurt too much.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I was going to ask you is knowing that you've been doing this for as long as you have now, are you ever fully covering a position? And maybe it's less about, I'm sure the answer is no for Bitcoin and ETH and some of the bigger market cap coins, but are you ever fully covering any positions at all? And if so, are they in smaller names, bigger names? How do you kind of navigate that?
Yeah, absolutely. So recently, and by recently, I mean really over the last 6 months, I've consolidated my portfolio a bit within kind of a larger downtrend outside of Bitcoin, ETH. I mean, up until recently, just a couple of months ago, ETH sucked. And that was true of a lot of alts. So in some cases, I was flat or maybe slightly up from adding to positions, and then you got a little bit of a bounce, and I just took some stuff off there. That was in smaller tokens, some L2s. I was in Optimism, got out of that entirely. Say, a ticker symbol is SEI, got out of that entirely. These are some that we don't yet offer on the Tasty Trade platform, but hopefully will soon. And as well, shout out to Andrew here. Hopefully we get Fartcoin on the platform. That would be a good one. But yeah, I've gotten out of positions entirely because it just wasn't worth my time, attention, or when you look at the outperformance that's occurring in other areas of the market, specifically with Bitcoin, it just made sense to no longer throw good money after bad, try to buy the dip on some of the smaller stuff, and just participate in the the broader rally across the market in some of the larger market cap tokens. So on that side of it, absolutely. On the upside, I probably will never go no coin.
Right.
You don't want to be a no coiner in a world where there's only 21 million and it's going to 10 million a coin by 2037 or whatever. Yeah. You got to have a little bit of skin in the game. But I think if you were to see this cycle, some, let's call them big ass moves, I'll probably get out of a chunk, take some off the table, pay my taxes, of course, but let's throw out arbitrary numbers. ETH 10K, yeah, I'm taking some off. And I know that seems as if it's unrealistic. I think it's very possible.
Sure.
It's a non-zero probability. When we look at past cycles, if we want to use that somewhat crude analysis, I think you could get to 20,000 on ETH, maybe 30,000 if it gets really crazy. If that happens, yeah, I'm probably out. Deleted my Twitter and I'm not doing the show anymore.
You're on your private island?
Not quite that, but just taking a breather for a second. But most of the time I am, at least at this stage in the cycle, I'm trading around some core positions. The bear markets in here can be pretty nasty, but they present opportunities to really load up. I think you have to be prudent. You've got to approach this intelligently, and you've got to take some off the table. Maybe not everything, but I think you've got to trade out of it on the other side of that. And I think you will have a chance to do that this cycle. Maybe you're already seeing some of it now, right? Bitcoin at all-time high. What better price to sell it at? Though I do think you go higher. There's a lot of indicators that could point you higher.
For sure. Okay, that's fair enough. I saw that the guy who lost his hard drive, in the dumpster.
Did you find it?
No, he's giving up. I saw. I just saw that he's throwing in the towel. So
yeah,
that's a hard one.
From what I've read, he's spent millions of dollars trying to recover this, and yeah, who knows?
That's a rough one. But yeah, it's good to know. I just wanted your 2 cents on that because obviously it's so easy to just get greedy and want more. but you have to be sensible in terms of nibbling, pulling back a little bit, nibbling, taking some off the table.
Yeah, it's interesting with things like ETH. You can stake ETH, you can stake other proof of stake tokens, you can put them to work in DeFi. So there's a lot of utility here. So you might want to have a position in order to participate and generate a yield, right? In the same way where you might want to be positioned in treasury bonds at certain points in time. And it's not so much this trade where it's like, how high do you think the price of the 30-year treasury bond is going to go? How low is the yield going to go? And then are you going to trade out of that position, or vice versa? If you have very high interest rates, are you going to go into that and then try to generate some yield? I think maybe there's some of it, but it's not so much like a binary decision when it pertains to some of these tokens that you can kind of put to work.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that with Bitcoin, I do think today, and this is largely informed by how long I've been in this and just some of the different cycles that you've seen, I probably will hold, but there will be points where you want to take some off the table to buy it back.
Yeah.
I just won't go out of my entire position, but I could take it down 50%, 60, 70%, with the idea being, though, that I'll probably buy back in if you get some downside volatility.
Sure. So, I mean, that actually brings up an interesting point from Andrew then is like, are you looking at, like, when you're taking profits, are you doing it on like a percentage of what you've invested basis? Are you doing it on a price level? Are you doing a combination of the two? So if I'm buying $500 worth of Bitcoin, is a home run being 50% of that in terms of profit, like $250? Like, what is your kind of rule of thumb for profit exits?
I look at it a couple different ways. So first of all, if that's your trade, and I think you have to have a plan going into this. If you have $500 and you're going to buy ETH and you get a 50% return on $500, that's massive.
Yeah.
Right? When you look at the nominal value, okay, it's $250, but it's a 50% return on risk. If that's not what you went into the trade for, or you didn't anticipate it, what did you go in there for? Are you looking for 1,000% return, 100% return?
Which I think is like,
you have to be realistic.
Right. Which is the problem, I think, with like where Bitcoin or crypto volatility is right now, is people see it as like this highly volatile thing where they're able to like vaporize or multiply their account, or you know what I mean? So there's just like this shift in how we talk about it so that people don't have like that type of expectation going in.
So
right?
I think a 5 to 10x is just a massive, massive home run. You can hit those more often, seemingly, in crypto.
Yeah.
If ETH goes to 30 grand from here, it's a 10x. That's a monster trade. And if you have enough in it at that time, that could be your last trade.
For sure.
So to speak. That's probably one way to look at it. It's like, what's the greediest return multiple that you can come up with that's still somewhat realistic relative to what actually happens in the space? And I think when you look at it from the perspective, okay, what market cap does that imply? How realistic is it, right? XRP at 100, probably not that realistic, so that's not my target. XRP at 10,
sure.
Beyond that, you might be kind of greedy. So I think you kind of just have to have some number or some idea of return in your mind, just like to go off of to start with. But in terms of how I actually do this or think about it, right? We were talking about 3,900 ETH being a little bit overbought short term, and likely we're going to see a pullback here for one reason or another. And it doesn't have to be crypto induced. It could be something that happens in other markets, which is what we saw. So I use a lot of technical indicators, right? There's not really this great kind of fundamental view that you can take for some of this stuff, right? Protocols do have revenue. You can model users, and we can look at growth trends over time. But what I typically do from a trading perspective, and you'll see this on the follow page as well, as we were kind of selling out of some positions on the way up and buying them back on the way down, I'll look at RSI. If that's in overbought territory on a daily basis, north of 80, that's one box that I'll check.
Okay.
I look at exponential moving averages, which is where we derive these price momentum signals. So when the price is above all three of the averages that I look at, and that's an 8, 13, and 22 day or period, depending on whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly for your bars, when those things get really extended, the price is very far away from even your shortest exponential moving average, your short-term time frame, and the averages themselves are quite a bit away from one another, that's another signal. So I've built kind of little dashboards that I use personally that'll just give me those signals. And it's not simply one thing, but when you have 6 or 7 boxes of 10 that you can check,
Right.
I tend to assign a higher probability of, a reversal coming, and that's on the downside too. I've probably talked about this before from like the perspective of driving a car, or this analogy, right? And so stop me if I've said this, but we're driving the car, and our goal is ultimately to not crash the car and get to where we're trying to go. But we need to know, how fast are we going? Is it nighttime? Is it raining or snowing? Is there ice on the road? What's the traffic like? Are all the other drivers intoxicated? Mm-hmm. And so if we have a good understanding of all of these things, and we can look at this dashboard and go through and say, okay, this checks the box, this checks the box, that checks the box, then you have a pretty good sense of, whether or not it's time to get out, time to stay in, or time to enter into a position, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how I look at it. A lot of technical indicators. I want the macro fundamental backdrop too. Are we in a macroeconomic environment that's conducive to Bitcoin? Tend to be a few that are. The worst environment is one in which the data that's being reported, those economic growth metrics and those inflation data points are both going lower. You'll see the whole market crash in that environment. You'll see tech stocks down double digits. And so you just have to recognize that. You've got to recognize where you are from a price perspective. And I think you also have to have an understanding of where we are from kind of a policy perspective too. A lot of this is driven by liquidity on the margin.
Yeah.
So that all tells me today that for the most part, intermediate to long term, we're still in a pretty positive environment.
So looking at your follow trader account then, and with 4 minutes to go, like where would you place a couple shekels at this moment? If you had to pick one or two.
Let's take a look. Well, maybe we just go off of kind of what looks a little bit better here on the dashboard.
Sure.
We kind of missed the dip over the weekend, or I added a couple things. I've been buying around 3,600 in ETH. Mm-hmm. Wasn't as active as I should have been below that. But
you were on niece duty.
Yeah.
You have excuses.
I would kind of
degenerate duty. Okay. I have no excuses.
I'd look at ETH here. I'd look at Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, elsewhere. Chainlink has done well enough recently. Interesting dip there. We've held up. XLM is another one where you got the volatility expansion. You got the pullback here, but structurally you look pretty bullish. Hedera, HBAR is another. So we can buy like $50 of each one of these and just come back and see whether we were able to perfectly time it on Monday or not.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
Let's nibble a little.
Let's jump into the platform really quickly. We'll show you how to trade crypto on here. It's pretty easy. Just click a couple buttons for the most part. That said, Katie, if you do not have crypto trading enabled on your account, here's how you do that. Jump over to the Manage tab, and then we're looking at the web-based platform here, the web trading platform. Go to My Accounts, Trading Preferences, and you can see we've got it enabled through our third-party crypto service provider, Zero Hash. If you don't, and you have a crypto-eligible account, that means you have an individual cash or margin account, you can enable crypto trading.
There we go.
Once you've done that, jump over here, and I think the easiest way to do this is to find a crypto watch list or type in the symbol you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And this is an easy way to also just quickly see what's up or down here, the most or the least on a daily basis. But let's go in and let's just buy $50 of a handful of coins. So let's buy some Bitcoin, and we're going to click on the ask price to do that. And we're just going to set this up so that we're going to do a dollar amount, and we'll put $50 into each one of these here.
Beautiful.
Just as an example, I suppose, of how to do this. But I also think, you've got a little bit of a dip. Let's see if we can trade back to 120 on Bitcoin. That would be the high end of the 1 week, one standard deviation move, given the lower vol we're in. So we're going to buy $50 of Bitcoin. I'll post all of these on the follow page too. We mentioned ETH. We'll buy $50 worth of ETH. So we're going to jump back over to the watch list. We've got ETH on here. Let's see. Let's just sort these in alphabetical
just celebrated
order.
Its 10-year anniversary.
That's right. Yeah. And ETH making a little bit more of a move here But 10-year anniversary of ETH just last week.
Yeah. Time flies.
It sure does.
Time flies when you're still at Tasty Trade.
Right. ETH was a couple dollars at one point, right?
Yeah, we had him on the show.
I remember when it was $10. It's the first time I ever saw the thing at like $10. Bought a little bit and then like sold it at $100. Crazy. Now we're buying it at $37.28. We'll add a little bit of Litecoin as well. That's another one where it's just been, it's been pretty strong. Whether that continues or not, we'll see. I mean, the other thing here is that these all just kind of go up together with varying degrees of volatility. But I'm going to add a little bit of Litecoin, click on the buy. We're $3 higher than we were this morning. So I'm probably just chasing prices higher. We'll see. But, with this as well, what I like to do is just look at those 1 week, 1 standard deviation moves. And that'll be kind of my price target short term. So if we're just putting on some small trades like this and we're trying to return even 10% on our money would be decent. Yeah. And you can get that very quickly.
Cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah, you don't really need leverage here given how much these can move. We're looking at Litecoin 30-day realized vol of 63%. Bitcoin Cash, let's do that one as well. BCH 562 is 553 earlier. So, getting some moves already. But, you don't need a ton of leverage when you've got this sort of volatility. And then the last one that I want to add, well, what did we talk about? XLM and Hedera. H-bar. We'll add a little H-bar.
H-bar.
And then we'll just come back and see, I don't know which one performed the best or the worst, I suppose.
Yeah. I love it.
And you know what? I haven't been in Stellar Lumens in a long time. We'll add a little bit of that.
Okay.
It's XLM. 41. I had 41.19.
A little comparison.
41.83 now. Yeah, this stuff has all moved quite a bit, as you can imagine, versus where we were this morning. But a little bit of a demonstration here on the platform.
Yeah.
So filled on all of those, you can see that right here as well on the activity page. So we got our XLM fill, H-bar, BCH, Litecoin, ETH, and Bitcoin. 6 new positions while adding to a couple positions. And if we get a little bit of a bounce here, which if I just double check my expected moves, at least for the ones that we've run, Bitcoin, I've got a range of 108.3 down to 120. That was with a spot price of 114 and implied at 37% this morning. So we'll look to get out of this. If we trade up into 120, I could get nervous and call it 118, 119. ETH, looking for almost 3,900 on that 1 week, 1 standard deviation move. And then not that we put these on, but we can run some numbers for the others. Solana, I'm looking for 178 to the upside, 149 to the downside. Sui, 394, 304 on the downside. And then XRP, I know a lot of people like to trade that. Our 1 week, 1 standard deviation move in there is 335 on the top end and 265 at the low. Now, these are not static. Obviously, they can change, but just based off our spot price this morning and implied vols or realized vols for some of these, which we'll model, those are your ranges.
I dig it. This was fun. And soon, recurring purchases coming, so you won't even have to do it manually if you don't want to.
That's right. Yeah, we've got recurring purchases for cryptocurrency going into testing, I believe today, tomorrow, one of these days. And then hopefully by mid-month, at some point this month, if we run into any bugs, that sets it back a little bit, but hopefully we don't. So that said, mid-month, targeting a release of recurring purchases. If you want to buy $50 of Bitcoin each week, like we just did here, you can set that up to automatically invest kind of dollar cost average in over time, and then dump that position when we get to 200,000.
Yeah.
Or 500,000 or whatever your exponential price target is.
Yeah. Well, I've got super high expectations.
Yeah, 20, 37, 10 million, right?
Yeah. Bitcoin to 500,000.
To the moon, Katie.
Yeah, by the end of the year.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show. As always, that's going to do it for our show here today. I'll be back on Wednesday with Greg Magadini of amber volatility. Greg's been like 4 for 4 for trade ideas. So
Oh, hot streak.
tune into that. Yeah, he's had me looking at selling juicy puts in Circle. We talk a lot of volatility related trades in crypto, a lot of ETF options. So we were buying some ETH, cheap upside vol, looking for a 4K play. That worked out really well about 2 weeks ago. So excited to have Greg on the show on Wednesday. Don't miss that, per usual, fan favorite. But Katie, you're my favorite wizard. Thanks for coming on the show.
Me. Thanks so much.
I hope you feel a little bit better. By like Wednesday, you'll kick that hangover.
Oh, I'll be full force by tomorrow morning.
Hell yeah. All right, that's going to do it for our show. I'll be back on Wednesday. Until then, I'm Ryan.
I'm Katie.
Peace.